everyone, it's Bethany, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how I'm going to create a Facebook post picture frame. I thought it would be really cute and fun, and it's a great way to get really creative in Design Space. So I was inspired because I see a lot of people are getting really excited about the Spotify artwork that is going around with the Cricut community, and it's really cool if you guys haven't seen it. So I thought I would do something a little bit different and do something pertaining to Facebook and Facebook posts, because I personally am a Facebook girl. I really love it. It's been a fun little social media outlet for myself. So I thought that this would be a little bit more fitting for myself. So what you're going to need is you'll need a cutting machine. I'm going to use my Cricut Explorer 2. You can use any machine that you have though. And I'm also going to use a floating frame. So this little frame is an 8x10, and I got this from Michael's quite some time ago. I just happen to have it still. So I'm glad that I have this for this project. And I'm going to use a little 4x6 photo, so you can just do any photo that you would like, but 4x6 is probably going to be a perfect size for this. We're going to do it long ways, so I think it'll look really nice. A scraper tool, we're going to wipe down the surface with some rubbing alcohol, so a little cotton swab. I'm going to need some tape, and then a weeding tool, some scissors, and a few rolls of vinyl. So I'm going to do most of it in this white Oracle 651 vinyl, and then I'm going to do a couple little accents in the blue and the pink for the little like and heart buttons that are popular under the posts. Be sure to check out the description box below in case you need to look closer at any of the materials that I'm using. And other than that, let's hop into Design Space and I'll show you how I'm going to design this.
Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space, and this is the design that I put together based on just referencing what an example of a Facebook post looks like. So I just found this on Google Images, and I pulled it in here so that I could have something to reference really closely as I was recreating it for my frame. So this is where we're going with this. I wanted to show you how it's going to turn out, and then we're going to start over from scratch so that you guys can see each step. Okay, so I just placed the other one over here, and I'm going to start over and show you how to do each step. So the first thing I did was I went and grabbed a square, and I recreated the 8x10 base that we're going to be putting this on. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock it. The width is going to be 8, the height will be 10, and I'm going to keep it this dark gray color because I'm going to be doing a lot of my designing in white because we're going to be using white vinyl for most of it, so it'll just help you really see everything. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that step, but I'm going to make this a 4x6, and this is just going to show where my image or my picture is going to go. So the width for this is 6, I'm sorry, and the height is 4, and again, this is just my photo. So everything's really going to be designed around the photo. So it's important to put that in the design first, just so you can start sizing everything around it. So everything will be sized in reference to the photo. Okay, so when you're looking at the template, what you're going to do is you can ignore a couple things. You can ignore this little guy down here. This example is for a business account on Facebook. So if you had a business account, then you would see this icon, and you would also see this little bottom bar. And this just bottom bar gives you a little bit of post insight about how your post is doing. And then this allows you to switch back from your personal account to your business account. So we are ignoring this because we are doing a personal account mock-up of our post. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to try to go from top to bottom. So we're going to go over and create our little profile picture, which goes right up here. So our profile picture is right here. We'll just use a circle, and we're just going to size that down just right about there. And we will go ahead and make that white, and then we can drag that over to right here. Okay, we'll just drag that right over to our little mock-up here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to go to the text box, and we are going to add our username. So you can add your actual name. I'm just going to say our family for this. So I'm going to still use the Cricut Sans default font for this because it's really, really close to the Facebook font. It's really close. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to just type in our family. Again, you can do your name. If you're personalizing this for somebody else, you can do their name. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come up to style, and right now it's set to regular, but I'm going to say bold because the username on Facebook in a post is a little bit more bold than the rest of the text. Then we are going to go ahead and make this white, pull it right on up here, size this down a little bit. Okay, and then put it just right about here. Okay, the next thing that comes right underneath, you'll see is going to be the date. So we are going to just go and grab a text box again, and we will just type in the date. So for the date of mine, I'm going to say April 12th, 2020, and I'm doing this date because this is the date that the photo I'm using was taken. We took this on Easter Sunday of this year, so I am going to use that date. Again, this is a wonderful way to personalize everything because we can personalize any date for, you know, the photo that we're using, so you can make this really cute for the photo that you choose to put in your frame, which is another great way to personalize it. And then I'm using the regular version. I went back and switched to regular. That way it is a little bit different than the other one. Okay, so now we are going to make this white. Okay, and that looks great. So now I have this size, I think this needs to be a little bit bigger. I have this text sized just about how I want it. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to reference this text for everything else that I do in the post. So everything else is going to have this same text at this same size. So in order to make sure they're all the same, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click this. I'll come up to the top of the layers panel right here and click duplicate. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this right here and I'm going to write the caption. So right on the top of your photo, that is where the caption, that's what you say something nice about the picture, or you're explaining your picture, whatever you do in your post. So this is where the little caption will go. So I'm just going to double click this and I'm going to delete what I have written now and I will add my caption. So I am going to say grateful for our moments together. Okay. And that looks great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to work underneath. So underneath, we are going to focus on the like button, the comment button, the share button, and then we're going to add little icons for the actual interactions with the post that we get. So this is where you will see how many interactions you have, how many people have liked or loved or giggled at your comment or at your post. So we're going to do that next. So again, what we're going to do is we'll reference this size and font for the rest of the image. So first what we're going to do is we're going to go and look in some images to see what we can find. And don't worry, we're going to come back up here to this in a second to look at the profile picture. So what we're going to do is we are going to come up to the images button right here. It's the fourth button down on the left. So we'll click that. And we are going to search for thumbs up. This is the like button, and we're going to use this right here. So I'm just going to click it. It's going to add it to my queue down here, and that allows me to continue searching for other things. The next thing I'm going to type in is text bubble, and it's going to find that little comment bubble. So I'm going to use this one right here. Again, it adds it to my queue. And then the final thing I'm going to do is curved arrow, and that is going to help us find something similar for the share button. So this is very similar. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that and then we'll insert the image. Okay. So now they're all stacked over here. What we're going to do is we're just going to edit them a little bit. So first we'll start with the little thumbs up. So what we're going to do first is we're going to come up to flip and we're going to say flip horizontal. So it's going the right direction. Then we're going to come over to contour in the bottom right hand of the layers panel. Click contour. We're going to click the heart to remove it. And then we will exit out. And then we can size this down a little bit. Okay, perfect. And we'll just kind of drag it over here so that it's all ready to go. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is the little comment. So this is a double layer. You'll see over in the layers panel there are 2 cut layers to this, so we only need 1. So I'm going to select the second one and I am just going to delete it. And then we're left with this first one. Okay, so now I can size that down and I can just place it right over here. And the sizing doesn't need to be perfect quite yet, just kind of get it close and then we'll compare them and size them accordingly. And then this one, what we're going to do is we're going to take and flip it vertical, first. And then again, this is a double layer, so we're going to go ahead and grab that second layer and select delete because we only need one layer. And then we will go ahead, size this down, and take this over. So now all of these are going to be created out of white vinyl as well. So what we're going to do is to quickly move those over to white, we're going to go to Color Sync, and we can grab those icons and drag them up to the white. This is just a really quick way to get everything colored here. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I went back and forth here for a second because if you know, on Facebook, when you click the like button, you can also click love. And so what I decided was, instead of liking the photo in the photo frame, I'm going to love it because I do love it. So I thought it would be really fun to personalize it that way. So I'm going to set the little thumb aside because we're still going to use him in a minute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a love button. So how to do that is I'm going to go over to the shapes. I'm just going to grab a heart. I'm going to size that down. And then I'll just make that white really quick up here, and I can bring it right here. Okay. So now let's go ahead and make these little icon buttons. So I'm going to start sizing these down a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to come up here because I was telling you this is going to be our template for the rest of the words that we're going to use to make sure everything is consistent in size. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to say duplicate, and then I'm going to bring it down here. It'll be right about here. I'm going to double click, and then I will change this to love. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll come over, I'll hit duplicate, and I will bring it right here. And the next one I will say is comment. Again, I will come and click duplicate, drag it this way, and then I will double click and say share. Okay, so now we're just going to get everything arranged really nicely here. So I am going to right justify this icon over to the side of the picture right here just to get everything lined up. This looks good to me. I'm going to, or I'm sorry, that was left justify, pardon me. I'm going to right justify on this side. Okay, and that looks good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center this in the middle. So I am going to then select Shift on my keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and click on the love, click on the comment, and click on the share. I'm going to come up to align, and I'm going to say align bottom, and that's going to make sure they are all in line together. And then based off that, what I can do is just center the icons, and they look pretty good to my eye, so we should be just fine. I'm going to center this a little bit more though. I think that's just a little bit off, and I'm going to just click this and with my arrow key move that over a little bit. That way it stays in line. Okay, that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to need a little bit more space. So let me bring this down just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just bringing that down just a little bit just to give me a little bit more room. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the little interaction button. So this is the area that will show you how many people have liked, loved, or giggled, or any of the other options that they can do on your post. And then on the right side is where you can add how many times the person has commented or shared. I'm actually not going to add any type of comments or shares on this side. You can if you'd like. It's just going to be the same way as where you would duplicate your text and add it over here. But for me, I'm decided I wasn't going to do that. So now I'm going to add my little buttons down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and duplicate this little heart, and I'm going to say duplicate, and I'm just going to bring it right over here, and I'm going to make everything just a little bit bigger up here so that you guys can really see what I'm doing. So I'm going to just make this really bigger and zoom in, and then we'll zoom back out in a second. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add a shape. I'm going to add a circle right here, and then I'm going to size this down. Okay, that looks about the size that I want. And then I'm going to duplicate it because I'm going to make two different buttons here. So I'm going to bring that right over here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to size down the thumb icon. So we'll just size this down a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and right click and say send to front. That way I can put it on top of this circle here and get it centered where I'd like. Then I'm going to highlight both of them, come over to the layers panel, and the bottom button on the left says slice. I'm going to select that. And then I can take away these little slice results, and it's left with a image of a circle with the little thumbprint sliced out of it. So the Cricut will cut the little thumbprint out of it, and then I can just delete the results here. So now I'm going to come up and make this a color blue, and we are good to go. So then I'm going to size down my little heart here, and I'm going to repeat that same step, make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to send to front, bring it right over here. That looks great. Highlight both of them, slice, and then delete the little results that come off of that slice. Okay, now I will make this a nice pink color. So we will be using, these are the only areas, aside from the profile picture, which we're going to get to in just a second, but these are the only areas that we are going to actually use different colors of vinyl. Okay, so now if you notice here, they're kind of overlapping one another. So let me send this to the front, and I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. So they're actually going to lay kind of like this on the little project. So what I'm going to do is, instead of layering this on top of this and having a crease here, I don't want to layer my vinyl on top of vinyl because that doesn't look very nice. What I'm going to do is I am going to first of all duplicate this little thumb and bring that over here. I am going to highlight both of them. I'm going to come over to align, and I'm going to say align bottom, and then I'm going to come over here and say slice. So now I have a little slice out of the little heart to where I can go ahead and, let me delete these and I'll show you what I can do now, is I can just place this right next to it and it'll look like that. So that's very similar to what it looks like on Facebook. Okay, so now I can just drag these over, put them here, and let me zoom back out and we can kind of get an idea of the rest of the image here. Okay, so that's where we're going with it. It's looking really good. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on the little profile picture up here. So what I'm going to do is, what I did when I thought was really cute was I went over to images and I typed in hair into the search engine, and then it came up with a lot of different outlines and profiles. I thought it was really fun. So you can just kind of go browse through here and you can pick something similar to either yourself or the person that you are doing it for. I like this little ponytail one, so I'm going to select that, select insert image, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it pink, and then I will just size this down and I will place it right on top of my little profile picture here. And that is how you do it. Another idea that my husband had was, what you could do is you could take a picture and you could do a print and cut with this. So if you do that route, then you would have to use the Explorer Air 2 or the Maker, but because the Joy doesn't do print and cut, but that would be another cute idea that you could do as well. So he had that idea. So that's it. That's how we are going to make the little icon. Oh, I forgot one more thing. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. We have to say how many likes we got on the photo. So I'm going to come over here. We're going to say duplicate, and we will bring it right down here. Whoops, let me go back here. Okay, we're going to bring this right down here. Double click, and you can pick any number you'd like. And I just said 105. I thought that would be nice. Okay, there we go. So now we are all ready to go. Okay, and as a final step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Shift on my keyboard, and I am going to select this entire line of icons and words, and I'm going to make sure all of them are selected, and I'm going to come down here and say attach. Now what this is going to do is it's going to have the Cricut cut this out in an exact line and have the placement be the same. And I'm doing this because I want to make sure that when I am going to place it on my frame, I don't have to realign anything. Everything's just going to cut exactly how I had designed it. I'm going to do the same thing up here with the top. So I'm going to do our family, the date, the caption, and then the little profile picture here. And then I will go ahead and say attach. Okay, and then don't worry, the little hair just fell behind. So now the last thing I'm going to do is I am going to hide what I don't need. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use this over here because it's just the one that I have been using to practice with and make my examples. So I'm just going to use this one. And now what I'm going to do is, so I'm just going to delete this and then I'm going to also delete this over here because we don't need that printing out. And the last thing, again, is we're going to take away the boxes because those were just for visual purposes. So whatever's left on your canvas is what's going to cut. So now I have my Explore machine already selected. I will go ahead and click Make It. And now everything is placed on the mat as it should be. So again, you'll see why I went ahead and attached everything. So this is going to cut in an exact line. This is going to cut together. Like, there we go, just like that. And then the pink mat and then the blue. I think my hair accidentally went over to the blue, so I'm going to go ahead and just say move object. I think in my example I had it blue. Okay, and then I moved that over to the pink mat. So we are all set to go. Now we're just going to click continue, and we are using vinyl for all of the pieces. So we are just going to go to browse materials. We will zoom down here to vinyl, and we will select premium vinyl for all 3 mats. Go ahead and click done and we'll load our materials. The Cricut Design Space will let us know which mat to load. So we're going to start with the white. When that's done, it will highlight the pink and tell us to load the pink, and then again with the blue.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place my vinyl right on my mat, and I had a little spare piece that was left over. So this is actually a really good project for scrap vinyl because it doesn't take much. So I'm going to make sure that that's laid down. Again, this is the Oracle 651 vinyl that I'm going to use for the white. And then I'm going to go ahead and load it and get it cut. Okay, so that first one is done and it looks really awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that off, making sure I don't disrupt any of those tiny little pieces because those are pretty small cuts. And the next layer that it's calling for is the pink. So I'll lay this to the side and we'll get to weeding that in a moment, but I'm just going to put the little pink piece right on here. And the remaining layers are going to be very, very quick because they're just little elements. So I also took my frame apart. You'll have 2 pieces with the floating frame. Mine are actually not glass, so the picture frame that I had is more of a plastic material. So you'll want to be sure if you wanted a glass one just to double check the description if you're buying it online or in person. Just make sure that it's glass if that's what you want, because I'm pretty sure they do some glass ones as well. So I am just going to go ahead and place my picture right in the center. That looks good. Okay, and then I will just place the other piece right on top. It just sandwiches the picture inside. And I'm actually going to place my vinyl on the top layer. Now you can put it on the same layer as the photo if you'd like, but I thought it would look neater to be on the top layer. I just thought it would look kind of neat and almost more a little 3-dimensional, but make sure you make the choice if you want to do something differently. Okay, whoops, I got that on there. Let me take this off and we're just going to add the blue and we'll be all done. Okay, the final little blue piece is going in, and it just has to be a tiny little one. Make sure you're searching through your scraps because these little pieces are so small that you can use any leftover pieces. Okay, I'm going to cut off my scrap pieces from these and we'll get to weeding. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start weeding. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take the piece and I'll turn it over and I will just run my scraper tool slowly over there just to make sure that all the little pieces are really on the cutting sheet before I try to weed out the rest. It just kind of helps when you're working with small pieces. If you have ever tried to reverse weeding might be a good idea for a project like this. So you could try doing that since we have such small pieces. So let me bring this up. So you're just going to, the main thing about working with really small pieces of vinyl is you are just going to go slow. And that's just the trick, is patience. So I'm just going to go very, very slow and monitor any pieces that are wanting to come up. Okay. There we go. Coming off great. And again, just take your time. You've put a lot of work into this already. I think that honestly, the hardest part of this project is probably the design space part, but it's also the funnest. I think that the designing part is really fun. So once you get past that, you spend a lot of time designing. So I always think just take your time when you're weeding because you have already put in so much effort. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that little V because it wants to come up, but this is coming off really, really nice. So patience will be your best friend. Okay, so there we go. We got that first one. Looks like the V just turned a little bit, so we can just grab our little weeding tool. And I'm sorry, it's so hard to see. That's as quick, or that is as close as my camera gets. And this is a very small project, but you'll see more of it in just a second. So I'm just gonna grab the middles of the letters, make sure I get all of them out. This is such a testament to how great the Cricut cuts. It really is, because look at how tiny these letters are, and it just did a flawless job. Okay. Okay, so that first one is done. And so we're going to do the same little thing where we turn it over and we just press down and go really slow. Okay, and this is going to be the one that we want to really watch is the little tiny period at the end of the sentence. This is going to be the little caption of the photo. So we just want to make sure that we get that little period down. And after all that fussing, I think I did lose the period, but that's okay. It is teeny tiny. I think the little pieces that will be the most difficult are dots to eyes and small punctuation. So I know this sounds silly, but I tried to use as minimal use of those types of things as possible when I was designing this, just because I knew that it would probably have a hard time doing little tiny dots like that. And really, if you lose a dot to an eye, it's not that big of a deal. So don't stress about it. Okay, so that one's done as well. And again, if you have any little shifting of letters, you can just use your weeding tool to place them back. You can also grab some tweezers as well if you need to just place those and just get them right back where they need to go. It's pretty easy to do, and just, again, being patient. So if you find this intimidating working with these tiny little pieces, know that it's definitely worth the effort. It's going to turn out really cool. But also, you could always just purchase a bigger frame too. You could get, an 11 by 14 or something that will allow you to make these letters just a little bit bigger on your project. So that is an option too if you're just finding that this might be a little small. Okay, so I'm just grabbing the middles of my little letters and we'll be done with this one. Okay, so that one's done as well, and I'm just going to really quickly do the rest for you guys. That way you guys get the idea. The takeaway is make sure you scrape down on the back and make sure everything's placed there, and just take your time. Okay, so now I'm just finishing up my weeding, and the letters all turned out really, really beautiful. I'm really impressed. Really relieved as well. I did think I was deep breathing a couple times in there, but it turned out really, really nice. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab this little thumb right out of there. And that looks great as well. Okay, so we're all set. Now what I did was I went ahead and placed some rubbing alcohol on my picture frame here. That way it's all prepped and ready to go, and it's going to be all ready for our little vinyl now. So I'm going to grab some transfer tape and we'll start placing it on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a Cricut mat underneath me just so you guys can really see some contrast as I'm laying this down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my frame is nice and straight. And what I think is best is I was going to put it back in the frame, but the back is hollow, and when I press down, if you notice, see the back, there's nothing that would like protect it from pressing down, and I don't want to be pressing too hard on the plastic that it just warps it or does anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep it out, and again I have the picture underneath and then I have a piece right on top. So I'm going to make sure that these are nice and straight, and I'm simply just going to tape them in place because then I have a nice flat surface to work on that won't bend if it's placed in that little frame. But I'm going to do this so that nothing moves while I'm working and everything stays lined up. Okay, because I'm using that picture underneath as a reference, so I want to make sure everything stays where I need it. and that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm referencing my design space that's on my computer so that I know what it needs to look like. And I'm going to start with, I believe, just placing all of the little elements right on here. And I can trim as I need to, but we'll just kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like here. So some of them are going to need to be trimmed apart. I think this is going to look really cool. Okay, those will go there. And this is just giving us an idea. This will be here. And then the little 105 will go down here. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I think I'm just going to work from top to bottom, but I can't remember if I attached these two. Did I attach those in Design Space? I might have attached them and then accidentally cut them apart, but I'm going to grab some of my masking transfer tape. I really like working with this, and I'm just going to start with the Grateful for Our Moments Together. I'm going to start with that just because I feel like it's closest to the picture, and then I can just kind of get everything all lined up according to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this little piece and take it off here. Okay. And I'm going to place my transfer tape right over that. And I'm going to try to get it as straight as possible because I'm going to use that straight edge of that transfer tape to really get this straight. And use it as a guide, if you will. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it over and really scrape. I'm going to scrape this way as well. Let me trim this down just a little bit. That way it's not sticking everywhere. Okay. And turn it this way. And just go slow. Everything is so miniature and so small that you want to just take your time. And you don't, I have before accidentally taken up letters or a design by just being a little too forceful with my scraper. So now I'm just going to lay this down and pull back and make sure all of my little letters come off. Just taking my time. And there we go. They're coming off really nice. Okay, so there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stand over my little frame here, and this is not transparent, but you can see through it pretty well. So I'm just going to line that up the best that I can right over that. Okay, I think my transfer tape is just a tad crooked, so I'm going to try to offset it a little bit. Okay, I think that looks good. And I'm going to lay that down. Okay, so then I'm just going to press down with my finger and scrape down with my scraper tool, being very careful again not to disrupt any of those letters. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to take a little corner and peel away. Oh, it looks really cute. Oh my gosh, that looks really cute. Okay, so there's the first one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab another little piece of transfer tape. Now, I am a big proponent of reusing transfer tape. However, because these pieces are so small, and this is just a really small project, I am actually just going to use a new piece of transfer tape for each one. But feel free, if you want to save, material, go ahead and reuse. But for me, this transfer tape is so cost effective, this brand anyway, and I'll link it below. It's my favorite to use, but it doesn't stress me out when I don't reuse this, because I've had this for I think it's actually just about a year that I've had this. So I still have so much of it. So it's very, very cost effective and it lasts a long time. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up this one as well, and being careful again to make sure that all of my little pieces are staying down as I go. And if you notice that anything isn't, you can just lay it back down and use your scraper tool just to get it down a little bit more. Okay, so I have this one all ready. So I'm just going to place it right up here. Okay. And that looks great. So again, being very gentle with my scraper. I want to make sure that it doesn't disrupt any of those letters just because they're so teeny tiny. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and just take a little corner of my transfer tape here and slowly and gently peel away. And by the time I'm done with this, I'm going to have to rewash my fake glass, I guess you would say, because it's going to have fingerprints all over it. Okay, now I need to find my little hairdo thing here, and I'm just going to place a little tiny piece of transfer tape right there, and I can cut that a little bit. You really don't have to use a lot of transfer tape for this entire project. It's a lot of work, but they're such small pieces that it'll be really easy. So I'm just going to pull that up. Oops, that needed a little bit of help. I think this is Cricut, this pink. Yeah, this is Cricut pink. I'm not sure of the exact pink that it is, but it's Cricut. Okay, and then I'm just going to center that as best as I can as well. Okay, that looks cute. And that just needs a light press down. And then you can peel that transfer tape right up. Okay, how cute. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I turned that pink. I think that's going to be really sweet. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and work on the little icons down here. Now you probably could just peel them off and put them like a sticker, but I'm just going to use transfer tape because it's what I'm most comfortable with. So I'm going to do the little thumbs up icon first, and I'll just place a little bit of transfer tape right there. And you could probably even reuse this transfer tape for the heart just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just place this right here. And peel up. It looks awesome. And I'll just reuse this. Put it right here. And peel this away. So now I'll line this little heart up with that little indent that we took out. Oh, it's going to be a little bit, you know what, I'm just going to put this on there like a sticker because it is really hard for me to line that up through that transfer tape. And it's easier just to do it this way. So I will just lay that like a sticker, just like that. Okay. Oh, it looks so cute. I love it. Okay, a little bit more transfer tape. We'll get our little likes here. So you could make this as a wedding gift for somebody. You could, have their wedding date, or you could do it as like a birth gift or somebody, anybody who likes the social media thing. It's just for fun. This is just a fun little, and honestly, I wanted to do this because it's also kind of a challenge to, really challenge your designing skills, and also to challenge just working with something so small. So a lot of this was just also a challenge for me, just to kind of step out of my comfort zone and do something a little bit different. So I'm going to grab another little piece of this transfer tape and just get a skinny little piece for this bottom, and then we're all done. Okay, so our last little piece is right down here. And oops, I got it a little short. That's okay. You know what actually is laying this on a actual mat actually serves as a wonderful tool because you have the grid lines that can help you get everything lined up evenly. So I would recommend that as well. It's a wonderful way to get everything all lined up and make sure that you're getting things straight. So that was an accident, you guys. I didn't do that on purpose, but now that I'm looking at this, it's really been helpful, even though it's actually a little bit, I didn't get it completely perfect just because I didn't intend to do it that way. But okay, turning this over again, going really slow. Okay, and then while it's turned upside down, I find it easier just to take off my carrier sheet this way. Okay, so now I'm just going to place this right down here. Oh, it looks really sweet. Make sure I have it centered as I can. Okay, I think that looks great. So I'm just going to rub that down with my fingers and then lightly with my scraper tool. Okay, and then I'm just going to peel off this final little layer. And just taking my time, and it looks really cute. What do you guys think? I think it turned out really fun. Oh, I love it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I will just gently remove the little tape from the top and the bottom here, and we will get it placed in the glass or in the picture frame. Okay, so I'm just going to get my frame in here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this around. And again, it's probably going to need a little bit of cleaner just to get it all clean again. So I'll probably clean it a little bit after I've let that vinyl settle. So I'm just going to place these back in here just because I was having to touch it quite a bit when I was doing the vinyl, but that's just fine. So I'll just close a couple of these so you can see. But this is the final look. What do you guys think? I'll put that mat right back under there so you guys can really take a look at the contrast. But I think it looks really, really sweet. I'm loving it. I think it looks really fun, and I'm glad that I'm glad that I did this. I think this is going to be just a fun little piece. I think I'll probably put it in our little playroom, and it'll just be a fun little special picture frame for us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe. We have a lot more fun things coming to the channel. I'd love it if you guys would also leave a comment, and if you want to hit that share button, I would love that too. You can let other people know about this craft and see if anyone else would like to watch and make this for themselves too. So this is a great gift for somebody. It's a great way to personalize a little piece for your home, and it's just fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please be sure to let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.